People are freaking out because they think that this girl went on a date with a serial killer. This story is from Tiffany Matthews. So she met this guy at a bar and they were having great conversation, so they decided to exchange numbers. Their first date, he picks her up in this fancy sports car, but he didn't know how to use the door and he didn't really know how to use the car. So she assumed that it wasn't his car, but he never said this. They planned a second date, but Tiffany was too busy studying for finals, so that delayed their timeline a little bit. Then the guy suggests that they go on a late night walk. He then showed up late and was driving a completely different car, and this one was like old and beat up. When she asked about why the car was different, he explained that it was because of his dogs, but she said it just fell off. And women know things. Women got intuition. They then went to Gasworks Park and the guy made multiple jokes about murdering her. Late at night, middle of the night, it's just them. Like in a secluded area too. He also included saying that it would be a perfect spot to kill her, like from Dexter. And this raised her suspicions, obviously. And then Tiffany lied about her dad being a cop and told him that her friends had her location. And he reacted really strangely to this and asked how accurate the location was. They then sat on the rocks by the water, far away from civilization, and he kept making jokes about killing her. Tiffany was starting to panic, so she was planning her exit. She was ready to leave, and then they reached for the car, and this is where my heart sunk. So he was late to picking her up, and he explained that this is because he had to stop to get gas. And when they got to the car, she looked over, and the gas gauge was empty. And this confirmed her fear that he was lying earlier. Clearly he wasn't getting gas. Why did he lie? That is straight out of a horror movie. Tiffany then sees a couple in a nearby car and she knocks on their window and asks if she can wait with them because she doesn't feel safe. They agreed, and as soon as he saw her like around other people, he got out of the way. He sped off very quickly, very angrily, like he was in a rush. He fled the scene. She never spoke to him again. She blocked his number, but she was terrified for weeks that he was going to show up at her apartment. It is so important to take the red flags seriously because you never know. And the fact that he was lying to her about that, something bad could have happened to her. Stay safe, guys, and come over here for longer freaky videos.
One time in my 20s, I was dating a dude who sold his soul to the... And I didn't believe him at first, and then things just started getting super weird. So he would come over to my apartment, and one night we had like this fight because he was doing some unsavory things. He wouldn't get a job, and I was working like 60 hours a week. He came over and we got in this big fight, and then we were like, you know what, I was like, you know, let's just go to bed. Let's like sleep on this. Let's talk about it in the morning. I shit you not, I lay down, I close my eyes, I look up, and there are 4 like black beings swirling around my ceiling. I'm like, what the world? I look out towards my window. There's a male figure standing at my window. And I'm like, you guys, so I've seen ghosts before. So I was like, you all are not welcome here. You need to leave. Get out. Blah, blah. And really creepy in this like really, I'm going to try to do it, voice. He was like, they're here for me. They're upset for me that you're treating me the way you are. And I knew at that point he wasn't fucking kidding when he said that. He sold his so he he's like getting really angry with me because I'm telling his friends, demons, to leave. And I look over to my window, or I look over to my door of my room that is cracked open, and there is, and I've never seen this before in my life, my blood ran cold. I haven't seen it since. This is the first time ever. There is a half man with like a goat's face or something with like the ram ears. I don't know what it was, like the ram horn things, standing with like red eyes, standing in my door frame, and I'm literally still getting chills to this day. This has been 10, 12 years, and I still am shocked by what happened. And so I'm like, I tell the guy, I say, I am so sorry. I love you. Like, I was mad. I didn't mean any of it. Like, absolutely. And yeah, when we broke up, I had to get a hotel room and stay out of my house because I was scared he would kill me, because he said he would kill me if I left him. So super good, but that is insane, right? Woo!
Hey. Other dating horror stories. Pride edition. When I was visiting my ex-girlfriend, I got sick on the plane over and was ill for the whole trip, and one morning I overheard her tell her mom, "She's no fun. I can't believe she got sick. She ruined the whole trip." Same ex immediately after being intimate says, "Do you think your best friend likes me? Can I wash my hands first?" She yelled at me because I didn't know how to cook tofu. She also said I have too many people of color on my Instagram and it makes her look bad because she doesn't have any. Another ex used astrology to manipulate me and told me that the cards say we are meant to be together forever and we are never allowed to break up. We did. I slept over at her place and went to work the next day and received a text from her with a photo she took of my bare ass without my consent while I was asleep, knowing that I don't take pictures like that. One time I was not in the mood to be intimate and she begged and pouted and got angry with me and I didn't want to deal with it, so I gave in. Turns out that's coercion. A guy I went on a date with while I was in oh my god. A guy I went on a date with while I was in the middle of speaking stuck his finger in my mouth to wipe the lipstick off my teeth. I just looked at him stunned and he said, "Sorry, that was just bothering me." What happened to words? Tried to plan a first date with another guy just for him to get drunk and buy himself a concert ticket the night of our date. Have fun. Had an ex lie to me about his cousins being shot by drug cartels and his dad missing a hand. Had a guy take me out to sushi for my birthday. And when we went back to his hotel room, he smiled, went to his suitcase, and pulled out a diaper. Dated a guy for 3 months, talked every day, had dinners, kissed, holding hands. And after the 3rd month, I was like, "Hey, big dog, I got feelings for you." He held my hands, looked me in the eyes, and said, "I wish I felt the same." Okay. Another ex and I drove through somewhere for dinner, and when I went to grab some French fries out of the bag, he hit my hand. He would also race people on the freeway if they cut him off and spit on their car. Same ex told me he would kill himself if I ever left him. Still alive. Briefly dated a guy that love bombed the absolute shit out of me and talked about how important it is for him to give to a woman, just to be manipulated into a one-way hookup and immediately ghosted right after. Being single is so fine. It's so good.
This story is so insane, and this is why I'm glad I'm not dating anymore, because I feel for you ladies. I have a friend that told me about a friend of hers that was dating in Wilmington, North Carolina. She goes on an app, meets a guy. This is actually during COVID time, so not only are people, social distancing, I can't believe it's already been 5 years, but remember when we used to do that? They decided to go have a drink at like an outdoor place, social distancing, and then date was going really well. He was talking to her for a couple weeks. She thought, this is really great. Let's just continue the night. Supposed to go to dinner, and he said, "You know what? I'm making spaghetti and meatballs at home. I actually made homemade meatballs. Do you want to come back to my place and we can save some money and then we can talk and it's less social distancing and worrying about COVID and all these things," right? She was vibing with it and she was attracted to him. So she was like, "Yeah, sure. Let's go." And man, this man can cook like amazing. She goes back, they eat spaghetti and meatballs. Have a couple glasses, one thing leads to another. She stays over. 2 a.m. she's not feeling well. She wakes up and she's like, her stomach is really hurting. And I'm talking like she is ready to throw up. So she's embarrassed. She doesn't know what happened and she's now worried that she got COVID. So she actually went to the bathroom and she throws up. She's trying to be quiet because it's their first date, but all of a sudden she starts freaking out. What if he put something in the food? What if he put something in the drink? Why is she feeling like this? So she quietly, and I don't know, when somebody gets stomach flu, like when I have stomach flu, last thing I want to do is be quiet. I'm like not feeling great and I'm like moving all around. So she actually gathers her strength to get her stuff and get out of the house. She gets into her car and she is violently ill by this time. I'm talking like, let's just be real, ladies, it's coming out of both ends. So something is not right. So she actually is smart and she decides to take herself to the hospital. She ends up getting her stomach pumped because of how ill she is. And the doctor says, well, let's just, Let's get your stomach pumped. Let's get it out. Let's see whatever the allergic reaction is. Let's just see. Things, they give her an IV. She's sitting there. It's probably a couple hours. All of a sudden, the police show up at her door. And they come into her hospital room and they asked her, you know, what did you eat? And she was like, oh, I was on a date. I had spaghetti and meatballs and They started to ask her questions. What about this guy? How long have you known him? Where does he live? Come to find out, there was human remains in the meatballs. Human remains! Police proceed to further question her and ask her, where did she meet the guy? Dating app. What's his phone number? Checks his phone number. No longer registered. It was a Google number attached to an email that's no longer in service. Oh, what is this property? It was an Airbnb. Photos. So he had put up photos, which is not... This is like a repeat of a couple of stories that I've already shared of a couple guys doing this. So I don't understand why you're carrying photo frames, but you are covering your bases. To make matters worse, not only was it an Airbnb, but when they went to trace it, he had paid with a prepaid Visa card, you know, those gift cards. And on top of that, he paid for that in cash. He knew what he was doing. This is way too clean. This is so crazy. I don't know what further happened because that was the conversation. I was just like, what? So if anybody knows this story, if anybody knows an update to what happened, but this girl basically ate human remains. And to be honest, the thought is she probably was going to be the next person. And that's kind of his MO of what he did. People are gross. People are sick. Stay safe out there, ladies.
Dating in Arizona is so whack. Story number 2, okay? I went on a date with this guy who had been repeatedly asking me out for months, and I kept saying no. But then one day I was like, you know what? I'm gonna give you a chance. Anyways, he picks me up at my apartment. Never let a man pick you up from your apartment or where you live on a first date. Horrible idea, okay? Prior to the date, I told him repeatedly that I don't drink. It's just a personal preference. And I told him, I don't care if you drink, obviously, but I'm not going to drink. Fast forward. We get to the restaurant. We sit down. The waiter comes over. He asks us what we'd like to drink. And I said, I'll just have a water. And my date goes, bring her a glass of wine. And I was like, I don't want wine. I already told you I don't drink. And so I was like, no, I'm okay. And then my date was like, no, like bring her some samples. We'll see what she likes. Okay. I don't drink, right? So they bring me the wine samples and I'm like, I don't want anything. And then they're just staring at me, like him and the server are like buddy, like trying to get me to find a wine. So I'm like so uncomfortable. So I grab the little sample, take the most annoying little sip of it. And I'm like, okay, thanks for the sample. I don't want anything. He proceeds to order me a drink. And I look at him and I say, I'm not going to drink it. And he was like, that's fine. I just got it for you. And I was like, okay. Then he tries to offer me a sip of his drink and I was like, I'm okay, thank you. So that was my first red flag, okay? Because this man could not take no for an answer. Like he just really wanted me to drink with him. And I was like, I don't want to. Okay, first red flag. Second red flag, he's ordering his food and he doesn't like vegetables. So he's like, I want to substitute this. And they're like, oh, sorry, we don't do substitutions because nice restaurants usually don't do substitutions, whatever. So I was like, I'll eat it. Like you can have my mashed potatoes and I'll eat your asparagus or whatever the frick it was. And so his food comes out and there's vegetables on his plate and he freaks out and he's like, I didn't want these. I told you I didn't want these. And the server was like, and I explained to you we don't do substitutions. And then his steak was too rare for him. So I was like, do you want to switch steaks? I prefer my steak like medium rare, medium. His steak was like rare. And I was like, I don't care. I'll eat it. I was like, you can have my medium steak. Okay. So we switched steaks. He still doesn't like his steak. So he tells the server, I'm not paying for this. I don't want this. And the server's like, okay. So they take it off the check, okay? Second red flag, like just eat your freaking steak, okay? Anyways, next red flag is the tab was like $250 and the server took off his steak, okay? And this man pays for it. And when it comes back, he opens up that checkbook, opens up his wallet, takes out 3 crumpled up $1 bills and places it in there as the tip. And I was like, no way you just tipped $3 on a $250 tab. So then my date wants to go take a picture outside. So he asked the server assistant to come take a picture of us outside. And I was like, I don't really want to take a picture with you, but I was like, whatever. So I take it on my phone so that there's no documentation of it on anyone else's phone. And when I'm giving the server assistant my phone, I hand him $70 and I'm like, please go give this to our server. I am so sorry. Like, tell him I'm so sorry. This was so awkward and he did a really great job and he did not deserve that crumpled up $3 tip, you know? So that was the other red flag. And we get to my apartment and then he tries to kiss me, and so I don't kiss him. And then he goes, do you want me to come up with you? And I was like, absolutely freaking not. I was like, good day, sir. You know? Horrible date.
My grandma met the devil, story time. So when grandma was in her late teens, she had a child out of wedlock and this man abandoned her. So at this point, her parents were pushing her to get married to someone new. That's how it was back then. She's sitting in the old Chevy with her friend at a burger place when this really tall, dark, very attractive man walks up behind the car, stops, turns around and comes back to her window and leans in. My grandma was very modest, but she openly admitted this was the most attractive man she had ever seen in her entire life. He didn't even look real. She didn't even think people could look this way because he was so perfect, so handsome. He was about 6'5", 6'6" tall. He had jet black hair, bright green eyes, big lips, and pretty white teeth. He was dressed in all black. Black coat, black shirt, black pants, and black shoes. So he leans down in the window and they start talking. He says his name is Sammy, he's new to town, and he's just trying to make some new friends. So my grandma and her friend, being the sweet, kind people they were, they invite him to come sit down and have a burger with them. He was very quiet and shy, but he only talked to her. He didn't say 2 words to her friend, so she thought maybe he liked her. And they ride off and ride around town all night, just talking and hanging out. Here's where it starts to get weird. Grandma said when she went to drop him off, she asked him, where do you stay? He said, well, I don't have a home, I just came to town. She said, well, where do you want me to take you? And he had her drop him off at the graveyard. He was like, I don't know that I really want to go out there, because that's just a scary place, even in the daylight. He was like, well, just take me to the end of the road. So she drops him off at the big gate. Now, she did not tell this man where she lived, but the next day around 12 o'clock, he comes walking up the driveway, and her mom's sitting there on the porch, shelling butter beans, and she's like, hey, there's some tall guy walking up the driveway. Grandma's like, oh, that's Sammy, the man I met last night. So by now, her friend and her mother have both seen this man. He's real. But most importantly, he was dressed in all black. So Sammy walks up where Grandma, her mom, and the little toddler are sitting on the porch shelling butter beans, and Sammy asks Grandma out on a date. So my grandma looks over at her mom, and her mom's like, yeah, go ahead, I'll watch the baby. Remember, he came up walking, but now they're driving in her car. So he tells Grandma along the way that he's made a little picnic out in the graveyard. Grandma, being the kind person that she was, didn't want to be disrespectful or ungrateful, so she agreed to go. They go out to the graveyard where she sees there is no picnic. He lied. There's no blanket, no food, no nothing. And now he's asking her all these personal questions, mainly about her faith and personal belief. He starts talking about religion. Do you go to church? What do you believe in? And then he starts debating with her a little bit about Christianity. Grandma always admitted she was never a perfect Christian. She sinned a lot. She made a lot of mistakes. But Grandma, being a faith warrior that she was, you could not dilute her faith. Like, she would fight you all day long about her God. She wouldn't push it on you, but if you debated her, she would defend it. Then Sammy asked Grandma, were you in love with the man you had that child by? Grandma said, oh yeah, I thought we were going to get married. I fell head over heels for him. And Sammy said, I know when you're lying. It really freaked her out, though, that he called her out on it like that. She could just see something in his eyes, like he knew she wasn't telling the truth, so she admitted, no, I wasn't in love with him. The truth that everybody didn't know was Grandma and the baby daddy didn't even know each other. They had like a 1 or 2 night stand, got pregnant, and then because they didn't want to look bad, they told everybody they met, fell in love, were going to get married, and then the man abandoned her because he got cold feet. Sammy says, but you weren't going to marry him either. He wasn't the only one with cold feet, was he? Grandma was like, wait, we're the only 2 people who know what happened. How do you know that? And Sammy loudly says, I know everything. Then he tells her, I want you to come be with me. He said, you leave your child behind. It's just going to be you and me forever. And Grandma says, leave my child? I would never leave my child for anyone. And he says, yes, you would. You will for me. He said, I know for a fact you would leave your child and your whole family to be with me. Grandma responds, no, hell I wouldn't. I would never leave my child for anyone. But mentally, in her mind, she admits she would. Like, there's a weird little feeling in her mind that says she would leave her child because it feels like he's persuading her to think or feel that way. Trigger warning. Then he tells her he wants to know that she'll do anything for him, even if that means unaliving people, and he'll give her whatever her heart desires. And now she's terrified. Something was telling her, you're dealing with something very serious here, like a serial killer, a demon, something's going on, and it's not good. You better get the fuck out of here. So she jumps up to leave, and then he pulls her back down and says, you can't leave until we're finished. You have to say yes or no. He says, I know you need a partner and a father for your child. She said, you said if we were together, I'd be abandoning my child. He said, well, that would be a stipulation of the deal. She said, it sounds like you're trying to trick me. He said, well, some people do call me a trickster. He said, all you have to do is agree to be with me. Just say the word yes, say it. She said, no, I'm not making a deal, no. And then she starts thinking about the story her great-grandmother used to tell her about the man in black. So the man in black story dates back as far as we can remember, all throughout the southern states. It's a very attractive man who dresses in all black and targets female victims of all ages asking them to do his bidding or trying to make a deal. They call him a trickster for a reason because his deals never end well, never, and people believe that he's actually trying to take souls. So she used to wear this pendant that her mom gave her. It wasn't a cross, it was something else. So she grabs it and starts mentally praying, please don't let nothing happen to me or my child, please protect us, because she's starting to freak out. She's scared. He backed up and said, you're never going to agree to it, are you? And she said, no, you should know that if you know everything. So he stands up, looks down at her, and she said his pupils got so big his eyes looked black, like they were almost solid black. He said, too bad we couldn't make a deal, but I will see you again in a few years. She said, no, you won't. He said, yes, I will. And then he disappeared as he walked behind the graves. She got so scared, her hands were shaking, her palms were sweating, almost about to throw up, so she got in the car and headed home. The whole way home, she kept thinking she was mentally breaking down, like, was he even real? Did this happen? And then when she gets home, her mom says, well, how did the date go with Sammy? And she's like, so he is real. You did see him. And her mom was like, yeah. Where is he? What happened? And then she tells her mom, and her mom was like, holy shit. So her mom, being the religious fanatic that she was, takes grandma and the baby down to the river and has the preacher baptize them all over again because she thinks the devil's after them. Grandma said she don't know if he was a psycho, a serial killer, or a demon, but what she does know is he's real and he was there. And what's crazy, he was right. She saw him again 10 years later and he hadn't aged a bit. He came to her at her lowest point when her current husband was abusing her and her children. If you want to hear about that, I'll make a part 2.
I went on a very scary date the other day, and I just want to let you guys know to be aware, because this is honestly not even funny, even though I'm making it a joke. Basically, so we went on a date one day after work, and it was a Saturday, but I had work the next day, and we met up at this bar, and the bar conveniently had unlimited drinks or something like that for like $30, whatever. So it was unlimited drinks for $30, I think, for 90 minutes. And then also you had to get an entree. So he's like, oh yeah, what are the odds? Like, this place has unlimited drinks. Like, haha, like, you didn't fucking know. This man puts on a timer on his phone for 90 minutes. Now, okay, I'm all about a discount. I'm all about a special. But I'm not like a huge drinker to the point where I'm putting a timer on my phone. I don't even drink like that, and I had work the next day, so I didn't feel the need to like be drinking like so much to the point where I'm putting on a timer to make sure that they don't like jip me or whatever. So that was like kind of weird, whatever. This man is like pressuring me to drink, and it's making me so uncomfortable because I'm not like a huge drinker like that, and I had work the next day, and I kept saying that, like, what's the point of me drinking if I'm not gonna get drunk? Like, you know, I'm one of those weird drinkers. Like, I guess like I'm a social drinker, but like I just don't see the point in like having so many drinks, like, if I'm not gonna get fucked up. I know that sounds bad, but like I feel like the purpose to drink is to get fucked up, and like if I have work the next day, obviously I'm not gonna get fucked up, so like why am I drinking? And it's not that serious. I don't know. So yeah, he just like kept pressuring me to drink, and it was so weird, honestly. And then yeah, so like I ended up getting not drunk, but like I was tipsy, like in between tipsy and drunk, but like I could still obviously like be coherent and stuff. So then he asked me to go to this rooftop after, and it was already late, and I was like, yeah, I have work the next day, like I don't really want to go to the rooftop. And he's like, no, like just go, like it's a nice little rooftop. And I'm like, no, like I have work the next day. Like I'm really weird about my sleep, and like I'm very serious about my sleep, and I just know myself. If I stay out late, I'm not going to be able to get up for work. Obviously I need to get up for work, so I'm not going to go out super late. So I was just like, no, like I have work tomorrow, like take me home. So then he took me home, everything was cool. I should have stopped there, but no, I ended up going out on another date with him, and this is when it got weird. So we go on a date to this mini golf place, and he drives. So he drove there, and then I took the subway. He texts me, and he's like, because I was like, oh, I'm here. And he's like, oh, come to my car, I got us drinks. So I'm like, pre-gaming a date? Like, what? No, like, we're gonna have drinks at the spot and like have food and stuff. Like, why am I coming to your car to drink? Like, that's so fucking weird. So I ignored it, and I just went to his car, and he had like some drinks, and he pulls out a drink and he hands me one. And I'm like, where the fuck is your drink? Like, I'm not drinking alone. And he's like, oh, well, if you don't like it, like, I'll drink it. And I'm like, I like it. Get your drink out. The fuck? I'm not about to be drinking alone. Like, this is not a setup. And it was in a can, before you guys say he like tried to spike it or anything. It was in a can. So I like cracked it open or whatever. I don't even know what the fuck it was. Like, again, I'm not like a big drinker. I'm not like, oh, I'm only gonna drink this. Like, I don't really care like that. So I drank it, he drank his, and then we go to the date. So we go to the date and we're doing mini golf, and you do it's like 9 holes, and there's a server that comes up to you at like each of the holes for you to like order drinks. You can't do food, but you can order drinks. So we order drinks, and I get a drink. I got a strawberry lemon drop, which was fire, and then he got a drink. So we're just like doing the mini golf or whatever, like everything's cool. But then he literally like is so pressed on these drinks. He goes like up to the server. Like, I'm sorry, I used to be a server and I hated when people did that. Like, let me come to you. I was just like, why are you going out of your way to go up to her? Like, she's gonna come back around. It's not so serious that like we need to drink. Like, oh my god, we need a drink. It's not like we were sitting down at a restaurant. Like, we're doing mini golf. Like, she's gonna make her rounds to all the holes. Why are you going up to her like when she's not near us trying to place an order for a drink? Like, I think that's so weird, first of all, and I think it's so rude because obviously I used to be a server, so we have a system, and she probably was, I don't know, doing whatever she was doing, and she doesn't need somebody like coming up to her when she's doing whatever she's doing and then like ruining her process, you know? So I was just kind of like, you know, embarrassed or whatever. So that was our second drink. So this is our third drink. So we had the pre-game drink, and then we had the drink, and then this was our third drink. Cool. So after we do the 9 holes, there's like a little food court situation. So we get food, and he orders another drink. So this is our 4th drink now. I get drunk very easily. I'm a lightweight, whatever, don't judge. And yeah, so this is our 4th drink. And I forgot to mention, he kept watching me in a very weird way. I don't know how to describe it. He was like not looking at me like, you know how a man tries to like admire you, like he's looking at you like admiring you. It was not that. He was like watching me. It was so freaking weird. So after we have our food and our 4th drink, there's another side of like the mini golf place where you could do a second round for like $10. So we do that. We do a second round. So during this round, he's like, oh, let's make a bet. So I'm like, okay. He's like, oh, if I win, you have to give me like massages or something. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, if I win, since I just had a birthday, I was like, you have to get me a gift card to Sephora. And he's like, deal. So I'm thinking like, haha, like funny. This man starts going hard as the fuck in mini golf. I'm sorry, like, for laughing, but he goes hard as fuck. Like, he's actually trying to compete with me, like, getting mad and shit. And, like, I'm sorry. He starts going hard as fuck in the mini golf. And I'm like, is he serious right now? Like, he's not gonna let me win? Like, and I told him only $100 gift card. Like, that's, like, nothing for Sephora. So I was like, is he really seriously like trying to compete with me right now? So I'm just like playing, and I'm like, we're low-key like going back and forth, like we're equal. Sorry, I forgot the word for a second, but we're equal. And then I end up winning by 1 point, and he literally is like genuinely upset. He was genuinely upset that he lost. So then I'm like, yeah, like, I'm like, it's okay. Like, I'll still give you the massages. Like, calm down. Like, that's what I was kind of trying to say. But, like, obviously, I'm not going to give you massages. So then after that, he starts talking about the rooftop from the last date that he wanted to take me to. And I was like, oh, no, like, I don't really want to go there. Like, I kind of just want to go home. And he keeps like pressing the fact like about this rooftop, and I'm like, I'm satisfied, like we just had our date. Oh, and I was drunk at this point, I forgot to mention. I was drunk, so I didn't really want to go to another place. And yeah, I just didn't fucking feel like going. Like, I wanted to go home. I was like, I'm satisfied, like we had a fun date, like we did 2 rounds of mini golf, we drank, like I'm drunk, like I'm good. This man literally starts going back and forth with me about the rooftop. And I'm like, okay, fine, let's go to the freaking rooftop. So he takes me to the rooftop. He pays like $30 to get in. We go to the rooftop. It's all white people. We're the only black people there. We go to the rooftop and we're just sitting and we're talking. But it's like, I'm drunk. Or, can I say that? Tipsy or whatever. So I'm like, what are we even doing here? And I told him I'm not going to get more drinks. So I don't know what we're doing here because I'm drunk and like I'm ready to go. And he's like, okay, we can just go. Then we get in the car and he asked me to go home with him. I obviously said no because one, I'm drunk, and then two, he lives in New Jersey and I had a bad experience the last time I was in New Jersey. And I told him that and he was like, oh, what was the experience? And it was a bad, scary Uber situation. He was like, oh, it was the Uber, it wasn't Jersey. And I was like, still being in Jersey like reminds me of that situation. So we're literally going back and forth about him taking me home versus taking me to Jersey. And at one point I was like, okay, I'm just gonna get out and call the Uber. And then I got out the car. I was like gesturing as if I was gonna get out the car. I'm trying to hurry up because it's 10 minutes. I don't want to make a part two. And he like incriminates himself. He's like, oh, you're acting like I'm some creep. And I'm like, I never said you were a creep. Like, you're telling on yourself. But yeah, after like going back and forth, literally debating with this man to take me home, he finally takes me home. But it was very genuinely scary. So please be careful when you're dating.
Please tell me if I'm wrong, but I've consulted 3 whole people on this, and they all told me that I was right for leaving. I was supposed to go on a Starbucks date. This is what I was getting. I don't drink coffee. Anyway, we met on the apps, and I'm back on the apps, unfortunately. And this guy, very attractive, he says he likes to do instant dates. So since it's Bumble, I have to message him first. So I was like, what is an instant date? And he goes, let's meet tomorrow. This was Tuesday. I was working, so we were going to meet today. I get there like 10 minutes early. I'm chilling in my car and I see what I think is him pull up like across from me, and he doesn't move. So I go to the Bumble and he messaged me and he's like, are you here? And I was like, yeah, I'm chilling in my car. And I wave through my windshield at him. He's looking at me and I wave and he doesn't wave back. He gets out of his car, starts walking towards the Starbucks, like past my car. He has to pass my car to get to the door. And so I'm getting out of my car because he didn't stop at my car or anything. And so I'm getting out to go say like hello and stuff. And he like closed the door in my face. So then he's already sitting down. He's sitting down like when I get inside Starbucks, right? And like I wave there also like while he's sitting down. And he just kind of looks at me funny. And then I'm like, well, maybe this is the wrong person, right? So I go to the line and I'm ordering my drink, and while I'm ordering my drink, I'm on Bumble, like trying to see if this is the right person. So I'm looking at him, and I look at him, and it's him. So he doesn't come up over to me at all in the line either. Then I'm waiting for my drink. He doesn't come over there while I'm waiting for my drink. And at that point, I've been in the Starbucks because they were busy for like 10 minutes. And with nothing. Silence. Like, I've tried to talk to you twice. You shut a door in my face. And then you didn't speak to me. You're already sitting down. Like, you didn't come up to me or anything. So I get my drink and I walk past him. I go to my car. I get in my car. I go to Bumble so I could be like, that was fucking rude. Like, you wasted my time. And he was like, well, you have a good day too. What? I don't think I'm wrong for leaving. Let me know. Because I feel like I have like crazy high standards, but like that was like the bare minimum and you failed, right? Okay, thanks.
This woman said she met this Nigerian man on TikTok, and after talking for a year, she decided that she wanted to go and surprise him. They did discuss it before and everything, and he was like, no, I want to see you. And so, she saved up her coins and made her way to Nigeria so that they can meet in person for the first time. You already know what time it is. Story time. Let's go ahead and get into it. Let me actually go ahead and whip out my notes. I don't want to miss no parts. So let me whip out the notebook. So this Haitian woman was married for 11 years. Her and her husband had 3 kids before divorcing. Now, after the divorce, she went and worked on herself, therapy, all that jazz. A few years after that, she ends up meeting this man on TikTok, a Nigerian man who is based in Nigeria. They hit it off, they talk, they get really close, really cool. She meets his mom, his sister, his brother, really his entire family, virtually, of course. They discuss her coming to see him, but not before he's talking about different enterprises that he is looking to start. With how well things were going between them, she decided that she wanted to help him out with his business, so she went ahead and she sent him some money for this supposed factory he was going to be building, and we'll get more into that a little bit later. Anyway, though, she coordinates with his mom and his sister to plan this like surprise visit after she checks in with him like, hey, you know, I'm really thinking about coming. I just want to make sure, Neo, you're serious about me, blah, 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 blah. He's like, no, I'm serious. I want you to come. So she's like, say less. Fast forward, she plans the trip. She buys a bunch of stuff. She buys stuff for the mom, for the sister's baby, the entire family. And she buys him a whole bunch of stuff, nice things, expensive things, iPod phone, all that good stuff. On top of that, she also even gets things because she wants to donate some stuff to like orphanages and those who are in need while she's there. She arrives in Nigeria and has to travel to Benin City and Edo State. Now, she's there for a month. So when she initially gets there, you know, the sister picks her up from the airport, gets her settled into the brother's house. The mom is there. Everyone is super welcoming, super nice. Now, the first night she gets there, you know, she's welcomed, like I said, by the family and everything. Like, his mom prepares a meal for her. Now, she says that she was a little bit skeptical, especially because she's Haitian, but she was like, you know, they were so kind to her. She didn't feel no type of way about it. And so she just went ahead and like, she ate the food. He gets in from work. He's coming in, doing his usual routine. He hasn't peeped that she's laying on the bed. He looks and he sees her and he seems to be really excited, really happy, really ecstatic. So he's hugging her, kissing her, telling her how happy he is to see her. The next day, his sister takes her to the market area so that she can exchange some money, but also like pick up some fabric and some other stuff. On their way to the market, his sister is like, hey, you know, just as a heads up, don't give my brother any money to exchange for you. Like, I'll take you to the place. I'm gonna wait outside. That way you know what the rate is and you can deal with them directly. And so your money situation is private, but like whatever you do not give my brother the money to exchange for you. At that moment, she's like, all right, no worries, no problem, and not really thinking anything more of it. Later that evening, they get back to the house and, you know, the brother's like, oh, how was your day? Like, you know, tell me about what you did, blah, blah, blah. And she mentions that they went by the place to exchange some money. And he's like, oh, like, who did you go with? You know, was my sister in there with you? Like, you know, did she tell you where to go? Blah, 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 blah. And she's like, oh, yeah, like, your sister was super helpful. She took me to the place, da, da, da. All the things that the sister was like, oh, you know, and don't bring this up, she brought all those things up to the man. And while he didn't really react in any way, she could tell that he was bothered by some of what was going on, but she couldn't really quite put her finger on it. But anyway, over the next few weeks, the sister starts coming around less and less and less, to the point that she's not really coming around at all. The mom, who was the only one who was cooking and making sure that, you know, she was fed and stuff like that, really stops like cooking and everything. She's now starting to feel some type of way about it because she's like, why are people treating me like this? Why is everyone being mean? And so like she like, you know, confronts the sister and is like, hey, like, what's going on? And she's like, well, you know, my brother said that, you know, you felt like I was taking your money and, you know, you said that you didn't like my mom's cooking, da da da. So apparently the brother, the Flindon Jima Jakase, like trying to mix up the mom, the sister, and the woman so that nobody would be on her side. Nobody would be there to support her. And so essentially she would be isolated. Now, knowing this about the guy, she, you know, figured out like that she needed to move differently because of just all the different things that he was doing. And she was realizing that the only person that was on her side was actually the sister. Now, the entire time she's there, they are doing adult activities, but when they did do these adult activities, it was unprotected. Keep that in mind because that'll be important for later. Y'all remember when I brought up the whole factory situation, how she had given him some money to invest into this business that he was trying to start up. The entire time she was there, she kept asking like, oh, like, you know, can you take me to the factory? Like, I want to see the factory, blah, 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 because she gave him money towards his factory. And the entire time, like, nobody ever was able to tell her or take her to this factory for her to actually see it with her own eyes. And so, which for me personally, it would lead me to think I fenlo and it was giving lies. And, you know, I digress. What was really bothering her, though, was the fact that the entire time she had been there up until that point, he hadn't taken her out to do anything. Like, the only time she went out was when the sister took her out to explore, see, and do different things. Like, other than that, he wasn't taking her anywhere. And so she got fed up and she brought it up to him like, hey, like, what's going on? These are not the things that you were saying. These are not the things that you promised. Like, we haven't done nothing. We've just been sitting in the house. And so he's like, oh, you know, I'm sorry about that, blah, blah, blah. And so the next day he plans for them to go and do something. Now, here's the problem. They get to the area, they do the activity. She loves it. It's nice. It's a good time. But then when it's time to pay, he looks to her like, hey, you got some money for me? Annoyed, but still wanting to keep the peace, she goes ahead and like sends him some money so that he can take care of that, along with some other things that she needed him to take care of. Y'all tell me why, like, within 5 minutes of her sending him the money, he's already spent it on other things, talking about he needs more money because he had to use that for something else, but can't provide an explanation as far as how to speak. Even more frustrated, she sends him a little bit more money. Is like, hey, go ahead and cover this and we'll go from there. It's a little bit uncomfortable, but they manage. Fast forward to, around the time where she's supposed to be heading back. Now, here's where it really escalates. He had told her that, when it was time for her to head back, because she was going to fly out of Abuja, that he would fly with her to Abuja so that she wasn't there by herself, because she planned on spending a few days. He gets their flights and everything. The plan seems like it's solid. The day comes where they're actually supposed to head to the airport to head to Abuja. Now, all of a sudden, my guy's talking about, well, it's election time. My mom doesn't want me to be on the road. She said it's dangerous, blase, blase. Like, he knew this the entire time. And the entire time was like, he gonna go. But now all of a sudden, he talking about, oh, his mom said he can't go. Now, she's frustrated. She is screaming in the middle of the street. His sister is trying to calm her down because they were together. And like now the sister's husband has now been involved and they're all trying to console her. And she's unconsolable. She's like, this doesn't make any sense, blah, blah, blah. The sister is in agreement because she's like, why would my mom say he can't go? Like, why would she even get involved in this? Now, the mom calling, talking about, yeah, I said that he can't go. I said he can't go. But it's very obvious that like he's coaching his mom on what to say. Fed up and frustrated, she decides she just wants to go ahead and proceed and head to the airport. And so the sister and her husband take her to the airport. By the time she gets there, there's an issue with the flight. And so she actually has to stay over till the next day. At this point now, old boy is blowing up her phone talking about, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. If you give me another chance, I want to talk about it, da, 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 da. All of which ends up being all talk, no action. The next day she boards her flight. For those few days in Abuja, she actually ends up staying with one of her friends, which makes it a lot more enjoyable, but just a lot more comforting, especially given all that she had already gone through. Fast forward, she gets home. Fast forward a few months later, she still hasn't gotten her period, only to realize that she is what? Pregnant. Come back for part 2 because we are out of time. So this woman said that a few months after getting back from Nigeria, she finds out that she's pregnant. I already know what time it is. Story time. This is part 2 to I Met a Man on TikTok. Went to Nigeria to visit him and he bamboozled and played in my face. But anyway, she finds out that she's pregnant. Man, they hadn't really been talking. So she debated whether or not she was even going to share that with him just because of his behavior. Man, she was like, you know what? This would be his dome as much as it would be my dome. So let me just, go ahead and tell him this information. So she tells him and tells the sister and the mom. The sister seemed to be the one who cared the most. The brother, on the other hand, he was unbothered, unfazed, like would ask about the pregnancy every so often, but really didn't seem like he was too concerned about the situation. Trigger warning, trigger warning, trigger warning. Like after she looked at all that she had been through in the situation, honestly, the way that the guy was acting, she was like, I don't know if I want to have this baby. And he really seemingly didn't care. So she's like, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and terminate. She has so many different emotions going on in her mind and her body because, she had 3 other kids. She had never, had the big A before. And so she just was unsure, but she knew what she needed to do. She just needed to get her mind there. But as the universe would have it, she ended up having a miscarriage. She was like, oh, y'all want to play in my face? I'm going to do the same. She doesn't even tell them about the miscarriage. She lets them continue thinking that my guy has a son out here. A son that, he's not taking care of or investing anything into, but he really legitimately believes that he has a son out here. They believe that this child is 2 years old and she's been sending pictures all throughout. She has a cousin that has a son that is around that age. And so she has pictures and stuff like that she can utilize to be like, oh, like this is your son. She said in the long run, she was happy that, the miscarriage happened. While it was unfortunate, she was happy that it happened because had she still been, pregnant and delivered that baby, this is what she would have been dealing with, like in her present day, an absent father that essentially wanted nothing to do with their child or with her. Now, I don't know how much longer she's going to keep it going. And she said she don't feel not one bit bad because they played in her face that entire time. The entire family did.